It's a great day to be in life now. This is your host, Coach TMB, and I'm excited about this episode of today's show. We have an awesome lady by the name of Heather VanDyke with us, who is the co-owner of Harmony Brewing and Harmony Hall. How you doing, Heather?
I'm great.
You're great.
I am.
You look great.
Oh, thank you. So do you. This is fun so far.
Yes, it is. I'm so excited to have you here with me today to talk about this awesome business that you and your brothers have founded, and now it's established. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So I wanted to ask you, this has been a family affair, and it may not have started off as a family affair. I don't know. There's always a story behind the story. But talk to us today about how you all came up with this idea of Harmony Brewing.
My brothers, Barry and Jackson, who I own the business with, as you mentioned, they had been home brewing for 10 years. And we had a business before this, we still have it actually, where we did sustainable real estate development.
Okay.
And we had some commercial clients, and they put in restaurants and bars, and we worked really closely with them to get their places open.
Okay. And
then it would be time for us to step back, and then they would run the business. And at that moment, we always thought, man, that looks like the fun part. And so a building came open. That's what became Harmony in Eastown.
Okay.
And my brothers, like I mentioned, had been home brewing for 10 years, and so we thought we would leap. And I was terrified. I'm always the scaredy cat, but they were like, we should do this.
So you said your brothers had already been home brewing for 10 years. So was there just a passion or love that they had to create, different brews or beers rather?
Yeah, I mean, they always loved beer, loved to drink beer, and they also are very tinkery. Like they're crafty. They like to get in and figure out how to do stuff. And so, like in both of our locations, a lot of the furniture is made by my brother Barry.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it always has our little touches on stuff because they're such craft people. And then in our new location at Harmony Hall, we make the sausages from scratch, we make the bread from scratch, and that's also my brother Barry's recipes. And so they're the kind of guys that just get in there and like figure out how to do stuff. And so that's where it came from.
I love when I have an opportunity to go and hang out at Harmony, because it's a great place. And I'm not just saying that, you guys, because I got Heather on the show. I'm speaking from experience. You need to go check out Harmony Brewing. But, there's something unique about that name, Harmony. How did you all come up with that name?
It was just a process. Being siblings who own a business together, everything has to be done by consensus, because we need to be sure that we're always on the same page and checking in with each other. And so we're drilling through all these names and nothing was sticking, and I don't remember which one of us said Harmony, and we really liked that because we liked all the connotations behind that. We love the aspect of owning a restaurant that allows you to provide hospitality. There's the aspect of how you treat your staff, the culture you create within your restaurant, the ability to bring in local ingredients, to craft the food, and so all those things have a harmonious aspect to them. And so we felt like we could get a little philosophical. We always go off on a philosophical tangent, but yeah, that's it. Once we said Harmony, we knew that was a good fit.
But in business, that is such an important concept that you just put out there. Look, she's got me all tongue-tied. Being in harmony and being harmonious. Can you just enlighten us on how that can help you in business become better or more effective in whatever it is that you're doing?
I feel like for us, we're trying to approach everything in a very genuine way that feels comfortable to us.
Okay.
And first, by doing that, I feel like we draw a really great staff to us. They respond to that. We prioritize really trying to treat people well.
Okay.
We feel like it's our job as owners to treat our staff well, and then our staff can treat our guests well.
That's good.
So that, that kind of trickle-down idea. And then I feel people respond to when you're being genuine. So we try to have genuine relationships within the business community, genuine relationships within the neighborhood, with our purveyors, and so I feel like it's a less stressful way to do business.
Yes.
And I think that people respond when they feel like you're for reals.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Now, as the three of you were working to get Harmony open in Eastown, what were some of the obstacles that maybe you all faced? Because I remember, some time ago you sharing some stories with me.
Well, and I think in both locations, it just takes a lot of time to get a place open, especially when it's just us. More so with Harmony Eastown than in Harmony Hall. In Harmony Eastown, my brothers did pretty much all of the work.
Okay.
And the place was crazy. One of my brothers likes to say that there was 1999 Snapples in the cooler when we bought
Wow,
the building.
Okay. Because it used to be an ice cream shop or
It
something?
was a liquor store.
Liquor store,
and then
okay.
it was abandoned for 10 years.
Okay.
And so when we bought it, it was still kind of this halfway intact
Okay.
liquor store. And so there was a long process of just gutting all that and
Okay.
then, bringing it to the place where we wanted it to be. And so that's a challenge. Because people get frustrated and say, well, it's taking you so long. And we're like, we're genuinely working our butts off. And it was the same for our other location. You always have holdups. There's always, bureaucratic things that tie you up. And then also, like I mentioned, like making the furniture from scratch and everything, that takes a lot of time. And so those are some of the challenges. Sometimes it feels like it'll take forever, and we can't imagine having people in the space, and then when we start to be able to welcome folks in, that's like when it starts to make sense. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine with an establishment like that you all probably have projected a grand opening date, and
my
then
goodness,
to
yes.
get there and you're not ready to open yet. And what does that feel like? How do you maneuver? How do you maneuver through all of that?
we had a couple people drive by and genuinely yell at us because we weren't open. We were
Really?
like, maybe we should take that as a compliment. We're so invested. I always prefer to do it when it's ready to be. I don't want to rush it because
That's rich.
there's a point where as an entrepreneur, and you know this too, like you get everything as ready as you can and then you just leap. And so I like to really get everything as ready as we can.
She does. I know her.
Because once you leap, you're leaping, and then you have a big staff, and you're not just doing it by yourself. I mean, you're taking a bunch of people with you. And so when we had to delay, it was always for a good reason, and I always felt good about being sure that it was the right time to open when it was the right time.
You shared a very good nugget that we all need to learn to take in, because a lot of times, Heather, we can get caught up in wanting to get this thing open, or we really are pressing to do whatever it is that we're trying to do. But I found now, because I'm listening now to time, to allow it to happen when it's supposed to happen. And you were talking about not rushing it and just letting it happen. For the business owners and aspiring business owners that are looking at this show today, what would be a nugget or a word of encouragement that you would share with them in that regard?
Oh my goodness.
I'm making her think now.
Well, I mean, you've got to get it all together. You've got to take your time. I mean, finding the right staff is so hugely important.
Yes.
And you can't rush that. And you absolutely have to line the right people up, because they're going to be representing you. They're going to be, I mean, it's your dream to own your business, and then you're hiring people who are going to help you to run it. And so in terms of allowing time to unfold and things to proceed how they're going to proceed, that's a hugely important piece, is allowing time to find the right people. That's enormous.
It's huge. It's huge. And you all were very intentional about the people that you did hire in your establishments. Why was that such an important thing to the three of you?
Well, I mean, putting your team together is gigantic, and you have to be able to feel like you like each other.
How about that?
You trust each other. And a really fun part about that is seeing like who is going to be attracted to what you're creating and what commonalities you're going to have. Like, it's neat. You have so much in common. Like they love food, you love food. They like are beer people, and they bring new passion and creativity to a project. And so, yeah, that's a really cool piece of the puzzle.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, you have a unique edge in the sense that you are a businesswoman in the beer industry, and it's predominantly a male-populated place to be. What has the reception been like for you?
Well, the reception has been great in the beer community. We have found that the beer community is extremely cooperative, extremely welcoming. People know each other. They genuinely have affection for each other and have relationships with each other. And so that's been really fun. And there are a surprising amount of women in the beer industry in Grand Rapids. Brewers and people on the distributing part, and you know, all there's actually a collaborative called Fermenta, which is women in craft beer. Yeah,
women
and
in craft
that's
beer.
statewide, but
Okay.
it's pretty neat. I think as being a woman in the, I mean, we own a brewery, but it's also a bar. You know, it's nice to be able to do a little bit of culture setting. That it's not going to be a meat market kind of place. Sometimes in kitchens, it's just expected that people are going to be saying things that are out of school, and you let people know, like, there are men and women in this kitchen, and you just can't talk like that. And so you can do some culture setting. You can make it to a place where everybody is welcome, and women in particular feel safe. Part of our training is like staff is, you know, leaving. They leave late at night. You know, like they leave together, they walk together, and
That's important.
thinking about women's safety and stuff like that. So as a woman, you can bring that to the table. Not like my brothers wouldn't think of it, but I raise it, and they're like, "Oh yeah."
See, that's that woman's edge, and I love that culture setting. Is that something that came to you as you evolved in the business, or did you just come in knowing that this was something that we need to establish in our company?
I think there's a lot of things that I look back now and say, like, oh yeah, we were intentional about that, but in a way it's just instinctual, because as a woman in the business, you're going to create a tone where other women feel protected in your business.
Absolutely.
And so it was more just the way we operate.
And I bet your employees appreciate that too, because you guys genuinely care about the people who are working for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's important. I do. So, you know, what has been some of the lessons that you personally have learned as you've grown in this industry that have made you better? Because she's sharp.
Well, speaking about being a woman and being a woman on a construction site, when we're creating these places, one thing I've learned is to just go up and right away introduce myself to all the contractors and subcontractors on a job, so that they know that I'm one of the people that they should be talking to when they have questions about things.
Oh, okay.
And it took me a little bit
I feel a story behind that.
There actually wasn't such a particular story, but it took me a bit, and then I finally was like, oh yeah, because I would call somebody, and then they would talk to one of my brothers, you know, and so, and I wasn't offended. I would observe it. So that's one thing I learned, to just go up and introduce myself right away. And then I forgot the question.
What were some of the lessons that you have learned that have help you become a better businesswoman?
I think it's not natural to me to. I'm trying to think of how to say it. Like, sometimes you do have to be a little confrontational when you're the boss.
Come on,
you have
help
to be
us
the boss.
out. That's right.
And so, with everything, it gets easier with practice. But I try to always be very based in facts, very practical, very calm, and also still compassionate, but speak in a way that's clear that I'm setting the tone.
Clear and direct.
And that's something that
is that an
takes
area
a little
that you
bit.
struggle? Yeah. And I don't want to cut you off, because I really want to hear your thoughts on that, because before I became a business owner, I was a manager, you know, and holding that position, sometimes there are moments when you have to be confrontational about things, and I think it's all in the way you present whatever it is that you got to do, because these are still people that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's so important that you are mindful of how you talk to people, because I've heard so many horror stories, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? They talk to you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, I would never be able to do that. I would never be able to, yeah. I just try to be exactly what you said. Like, that's a person that you're talking to. I try to be as loving as I can. And also, you have to be confident in what you're saying.
Yes.
If you are being emotional, that is inappropriate and weird for the person that you're trying to have the conversation with. And so, yeah, just try to be as loving and as clear and factual, and that's the way I've approached it. But that's a learning process for sure.
It is.
Because I'm much more of a peacemaker.
Me too. Me too. So I kind of feel out of my element sometimes when I have to confront, but I know I have to do it. So just come on, do it, and get done with it.
Right. Yeah, and my normal is to, like, let's find consensus, but sometimes you can't.
That's that harmony in you.
That's the harmony, that's right.
So hence Harmony Hall Part 2. This is an amazing thing. I'm getting tongue-tied. What made you guys decide to open up a second establishment?
We were really pleased and surprised with how busy we were, how quickly at our first place. It has 80 occupancy. It's little. It's bigger than people think from the outside. They come in and often they're like, whoa, this looks bigger. But we had a hard time keeping up with our capacity right off the bat in terms of making the beer. And so we knew that we needed to come up with a solution where we would be able to make beer for both locations.
Wow.
And then the opportunity to look at this building came up, and it's just such a cool building with such a cool story. And in the west side of Grand Rapids, which has a lot of stuff going on, and we just hadn't explored it all. And so we thought that if we didn't jump on the opportunity, we were foolish. So we had to go for it.
So talk about that for a moment, because it is a historical building, and prior to you all getting your hands on it, it was Little Mexico, and everybody used to go to Little Mexico, and now we have Harmony Hall there. But the history in that building is so rich, and I didn't know until I started researching so I could be prepared for you. Talk about the building.
Well, it was Little Mexico, which was an icon of a restaurant for about 40 years. We used to go there all the time with our families when it was still open. And then previous to that, it was the Rouser Quality Sausage Factory from about the turn of the last century to about 1960. And there's actually two separate parts of the building. There's one that's brick, and it's got kind of a Bavarian style facade. That's where our front door is now. That's the old sausage factory. So we took cues from that from our menu, and we took cues from the idea of that they were German immigrants to do a German beer hall theme. So it's not themed German right on the nose, but there's definitely some inspiration that we took from that. And a really neat thing about the building as well is that members of the Rouser family lived in that building when it was the sausage factory. And so some of the members of the family, one of them actually lives right around the corner from Harmony Eastown. They're coming in and introducing themselves and telling us stories about their childhood and saying this is where this was and this is where this was, and it's pretty cool.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So I want you to talk about, because we're going to talk about this beer, this beautiful beer up here in a moment, but you guys have an amazing menu in both establishments. And they're creative and colorful and everything. What is the thought behind how you all come up with your menus?
Well, our mother is a wonderful cook, so we always grew up spoiled with good food, and that's something that we all have in common, a love of good food and cooking from scratch. In our Eastown location, we grew up in Chicago, we all love pizza, and we knew that we wanted to do something unique, So we got the wood-fired pizza oven in there, and we only use wood. Some places use a combination of different kinds of fuels, but we stick really traditional. We only do wood, and we do it up to 700 degrees like they do in Italy. We use imported flour. The dough ferments just like the beer ferments.
Wow.
And then we're able to make that really unique craft pizza, because we always look at it as a craft. And then with Harmony Hall, we took inspiration from the sausage factory, and we knew on the west side people know their sausage, so we had to bring something unique, and we had to be authentic. And we also looked at the idea that cultures around the world have a version of a sausage, and so we looked to do some kind of global flavors. And so to that end, we have a South Korean bulgogi sausage. We have a Thai green curry chicken. We've got a boudin, which is a French style of sausage. Right now we have in the works some Ethiopian flavors, some Moroccan flavors, some more South American flavors. And then we've got the traditional hopwurst, the Polish. And we think about, so we make the sausage from scratch, we make the bread in-house, and then we think about the whole presentation. And so the toppings are paired with the flavors in the sausage. So we're trying to bring something that's unique to us with the food.
Very unique. I know you all are getting hungry already. So you've brought some of the beers that you feature at both sites. Why don't you talk to us today about what you have here? Stop.
Just lead her into the top here.
Okay. I can go?
Can I check real quick which? Okay. Should I pour? And okay.
Yeah.
I hope it
let's
doesn't
make
get foamy.
interesting. So you've brought some of these, some of the interesting beers that you. I messed up. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. So Heather, you've brought some of the awesome beers that you have at both facilities. Why don't you talk to us about what you brought today?
I brought 2 beers for us today. One thing that we wanted to do with our new location is solve the issue of running out of beer.
Right.
And increasing our capacity. So at our Harmony Hall location, we brew some of our biggest mainstay beers, our IPAs, their IPA, our brown ale. And then in our Eastown location, we're brewing more seasonal ones. So I brought one from each location.
Okay.
And a really cool thing that we can do at our Harmony Hall West Side location is we can lager. And that's a different process of making beer. People are maybe most familiar with lagers and things like Bud Light and those lighter beers. And we always say, like, there's no reason to scoff at those beers. You don't need to be a beer snoot or a beer snob. Those are actually like miracles of science and ingenuity to be able to make those beers. But it's a different process. And even though it's a lighter beer, it's a little more expensive because it takes a little more time.
Okay.
It sits in the fermenter for longer. And it's a different process. And so I brought our Granddaddy Rapids.
Okay.
Which is actually, it's named after this cartoon character from way back in the day.
Really? Granddaddy Rapids?
Granddaddy Rapids. So we were like,
figure
that is
that.
too good. We got to name a beer
Wow.
after this dude. So this is one of our lagers. I'll just pour a little bit for us
And
to
that
taste.
bottle that you have it in is something unique too to Harmony as well.
Most breweries actually have this, and this
Oh,
one's
okay.
called a growler, and you can get a littler one that's called a meowler,
Okay.
which is cute.
Meowler, the growler and the meowler.
But this, you can purchase this and then fill it up at the brewery, so you can take the beer home with you. It's about equivalent to a 6-pack worth of beer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now tell me what this one is again.
This is the Granddaddy, and this is our lager, and this is about, I think, about 4% alcohol, and it's a
Okay.
nice light beer.
Okay.
Cheers.
Not bad.
And this is nice to be able to have because not everybody's into craft beer. And we also have a full liquor license, so we can do cocktails and wine. And we like to be people's neighborhood restaurant. So if you're not super into craft beer, you can get wine, you can get a cocktail. Or if somebody's not into IPAs, or like, well, I like Miller Lite, we can say, well, try this because this is a lager. It's a similar nice light style.
Now, there's something also unique happening in Grand Rapids, and because you're in this industry, you know about it. But there's a host of different breweries that have opened and have established themselves here in the city.
Right.
What's going on, or help us understand?
I don't know. The stars are aligning. There's a bunch more on tap too. There's 5 or 6 more that are coming online in the next couple of years.
Really?
Yeah, and we're Beer City, USA.
Beer City.
I think that people are really just attached to the idea of having that be a part of who Grand Rapids is, and just really started to explore craft beer. I mean, Founders is the granddaddy. They've been here for 20 years. I went there when I was in college at their old location, and they're kind of they ushered in this new industry. So.
Wow, I think it's absolutely amazing, and I love what you guys are doing at both Harmony sites. Another great thing about Harmony Hall that's a little different from Eastown is that you host events there as well. Talk about that.
Well, we have more space, so we're able to pull off a couple of things. We've got a really cool event coming up December 2.
Okay, talk about that.
We're calling it the Deck the Harmony Halls.
Here we go again.
Deck the Harmony Halls ornament fundraiser for the Westtown Collaborative.
Okay.
And so it's going to be December 2. We're going to be releasing the barrel-aged version of this Winter Nights. So it's a nice, deep, malty, actually pretty high volume alcohol. This is 8% versus this is 4%.
And it's 4%, okay.
So we're going to be releasing that. We're going to have holiday food specials. We're going to have the Dickens Carolers.
Oh, wow.
And then we're going to do a tree lighting ceremony. And then the big highlight is that we'll have ornaments, and people can take one home. For $5, they can take one home, and then they can get a paper one and put their name on it and help to decorate our tree.
Wow.
And then all that money goes to the Westtown Collaborative.
Oh, that's so nice.
Which is an umbrella organization of all these different agencies on the west side who are helping to support our new neighbors. And so,
That's a nice thing.
That fundraiser is actually going to be going on all through the month of December.
All through the month of December.
So we want people to come out for the tree trimming and the big celebration, but they can come and support the Westtown Collaborative all December.
That's fabulous. So tell the audience how or where they can go to get more information about both Harmony sites, and maybe you can put in addresses too.
Yeah, well, Harmony Eastown is 1551 Lake Drive, and Harmony Hall is 401 Stocking, right on the corner of Stocking and Bridge. We have one website for both places. It's harmonybeer.com, and then on Facebook it's Harmony Hall and Harmony Brewing, and so you can always get updates about our food specials. Our chef is running really delicious food specials every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I tried some today, and they were outstanding.
Well, listen, Heather, I've had a wonderful time with
Me
you.
too.
Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. Thank you, family, for tuning in to In Life Now. And remember, as Coach TMB always says, to live your best life in life now. Until next time, we'll see you.